these are all the books I read in the month of July and what I thought about each book. Starting out first, this book is The Voice in My Head is God by 2Chainz. This is a memoir detailing key events in his life where he heard a voice telling him to do something or to not do something, whether that was to go somewhere and not to take something from somebody, not to go this place with this person, and how often we can count those voices off, write them off to be intuition or just like, oh, I had a feeling. But that is really God's voice speaking to us. That is God's divine protection and divine love and divine care and divine guidance on our lives. And I really love that he took this approach with this book, because you find a lot of celebrity memoirs that are just detailing events of their life. I was in the first grade, this happened. I was in the third grade, this happened. My favorite teacher was this, and she taught me this. And then I discovered I really like rapping because this happened and this happened and this happened. And it's just like, okay, cool. But you know, he talks about going through multiple drug raids on his home. He talks about getting set up to be robbed. He talks about the time he got his first studio, or the time that he knew he should take rapping seriously, or his times trapping with his friends and stuff like that, on trapping just to make money or whatever. So I don't know. I just really love this book. It was a really good read, and all his stories was entertaining. And it's also on a sadder tip to see how much trauma he endured, especially as a young kid. But ultimately, all that made him into who he was today, and how he took each one of those lessons and really just, I don't know, just used them for his good or used them for the better, and how everything ultimately worked out for him. So I really love that. I really did love this book, and I honestly wouldn't mind reading it again, to be honest with you. It was such a good, fun, easy read. And another thing I thought was really cool about it is that in the audiobook, he has skits, and he actually talked about this before in his interviews leading up to the release of the book. But he has skits like detailing certain events that's happening in the book. So for instance, if he's about to get robbed, or he's riding in the car, or if he's out somewhere, you can hear footsteps in the background of audio, or you can hear tires screeching, or sound of a gun clicking, or whatever. You can hear all those things, and I feel like that makes, if you're into emergent reading, that makes the experience just 10 times more better. So I really did love this book. I got this book actually from a pop-up that 2Chainz did. It's called Night School at Cam Kirk Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, and I got the book signed by him. If y'all can see, I got the book signed. He signed all the books, and I'll insert some clips here too about how the experience was when he went to Cam Kirk Studios. But that was just, it was really cool to see him talk about the book. And then now sitting down a couple months later actually reading the book, I really do love it. I really do think he thoroughly did a great job on the book. If I could leave one note about it though, I feel like it would have been even cooler to incorporate that skit aspect into the book. So have an artist, maybe the same watercolor artist that he used, or I don't know if it's watercolor or oil painting, but use the same artist that he used for the front of the book to sketch out one of the cars he was driving, because he talks about having multiple cars and stuff like that, or sketch out one of the skits or the scene of him playing basketball or him hanging with his friends, and put that behind some of the pages as you're reading it. You can see it in the background, if that makes sense. I feel like that would have been even a key thing to make it even more better, but that's just like my artistic mind. But as far as reading the book, if you want to take a dip into memoirs, autobiographies, or stuff like that, I would definitely recommend getting this and reading this. It's 10 out of 10 for me. No notes, very simple, very entertaining, and very easy to read. So, The Voice in My Head is God by 2Chainz. Ooh. So the next book that I want to talk about that I read for the month of July is Relentless by Tim Grover. Tim Grover is an athletic trainer, and he trained Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and Dwayne Wade and some other athletes, but those are the main three that he details in this book. And he talks about what it means to go from being good to great to being unstoppable. And he details that there are three different types of people in this world. There is the cooler, which is the person that I believe waits for something to get done in order to make something happen or make some shit shake. There is the closer, who can be told what to do and they'll get some shit done by any means necessary. And then there's the cleaner. They just get it done regardless. They are the person, they are the leader. They are get it done by any means from beginning to the end of the game. They're the person that you count on. And really how you apply this mentality and this mindset to anything in life. Basically, how bad do you want the goals that you say that you want? How badly do you want the things that you say that you want? You're going to have to make some sacrifices, or how great, or what are you willing to sacrifice to be great at whatever it is, or unstoppable at whatever it is that you hope to achieve and stuff like that. I feel like this book is really good for athletes, or especially student athletes, but I feel like anybody can apply this mindset to their life. I personally rated it an 8 out of 10. It can feel like it's a little bit redundant, but ultimately the message stays the same, which is like, get it done or don't get it done, stop or don't stop. And then he also takes, I feel like it's 13 or 17 points that he details throughout, I guess, each chapter of the book that I feel like is pretty cool. And I listened to the audiobook while I was reading this also. And one thing I thought was cool about the audiobook is that the audiobook isn't narrated in his voice. Somebody else narrates it. But at the beginning of each chapter, he is, got an airplane. At the beginning of each chapter, he is interviewed by a colleague. He's interviewed by Sherry Lesser Wink, and he goes into depth about the subject of each chapter. He's interviewed about that before each and every chapter. So I like that aspect of this audiobook. But I rate this book an 8 out of 10. Like I said, it was kind of redundant, but I do get the overall concept, and it was pretty cool to read. So the next books that I would like to talk about is the Skyland series, written by Kennedy Ryan. And let me say one thing about Miss Kennedy Ryan. She is transcending the game. I love her so much. I love her writing style. I love how personable she is. I love how much research she puts into the subjects that she decides to touch on in her books. I love how personable her characters are. And I love even the smallest of small details that she puts into making her characters and into making these books. I feel like it is just really, I don't even know the word, outstanding, superbulous. I really got to give her 10s for this Skyland series. I've heard a lot about it. It was very popular when it came out. And I even remember one of my close friends reading it. Shout out to my cousin's wife, because he let me borrow and read all 3 of these books. But it was very popular when it came out. And I see why. I definitely see why. I haven't been the type of fiction reader, and I wanted to start reading more fiction books just to get into it, to see what it was like. I've always been the type to read more of autobiographies or biographies or memoirs and stuff like that, but I'm so happy that I dipped my toe into fiction, into romance, into drama, and that this was the books that introduced me to that, because these books were so good. I really love these books. Let me start with the first one, which is Before I Let Go. The Skyland series touches based on romance, but follows 3 characters, which are Yasmin, Soledad, and Hendrix, and what goes on in their lives, and also how they use their friendship and their sisterhood to help them get through everything that they're going through in their lives. This book, Before I Let Go, follows Yasmin and her ex-husband, and how they find their ways back to each other, how they just go through the trials and tribulations of navigating a divorce and navigating finding yourself after going through a battling of depression and going through a battle of loss. She has trigger warnings listed in the beginning of this book, but this book does touch base on loss, stillbirth, and depression. And I feel like it was written with so much care and just so much detail, even the smallest details. She's an Aggie. She went to A&T, and the book is based on the south side of Atlanta, and all those things are super personable for me as someone who went to A&T and someone who lived on the south side of Atlanta. And I just feel like she just did a great job with this book. It's a little spice in it, it's romance, but it just, I don't know, it just had me rubbing my feet together, and I just really think it was just so well written. It felt like, with all of these books, but it felt like I was really reading like a movie script. I really like Yasmin's character. I like how they even just have so many current cultural references, and it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like such a great book, y'all. It's a really good book. Overall, it was just a great read. This is my favorite out of the 3 books, my favorite book out of the Skyland series. And the one thing I love that will also happens in the rest of these books is that she has recipes in the back of the book of meals that they talk about in the book, and that you can actually make yourself. And she has Spotify playlists that go with reading the book, or the songs that are talked about in the book. I don't think she does it in this one, but I know she definitely does it in the second 2. Let me see. She has Spotify playlists for the other 2 books. And then she also has discussion questions. So for those people that are maybe doing a book club while reading this book, she has discussion questions written in the back of this book. And I just feel like so much care and details went on in not the development of the book, the development of the characters, and just the overall reading experience that I love, respect, and admire Kennedy Ryan for so much. All right, we're finna get in the second book, which is This Could Be Us. This follows the second friend out of the friend group, whose name is Soledad, and she has her life uprooted from her due to betrayal. And it details her journey of finding her passions, finding herself again, finding what she loves to do, and really making a life out of that. And I feel like it's just beautiful as someone, if you're on a self-discovery journey, or believe that no matter where you are, you're always deserving of love and deserving to be loved. And if you really just hold your head down and hustle and always do good, right things will come back to you. I love Soledad. Even though I see myself in Yasmin, I definitely see in Soledad as well when it comes to creativity. And like I said, this has recipes in the back of the book because she is the cook out of the friend group. And it also has, this one does have a Spotify playlist as well. So I just really love this book. It's a little messy. It's drama. It's just like, this one, even though I love the first one, I could not put this one down for real. I spit through this. This one was really good. Oh, and one thing I gotta say. 3 syllables, 2 words. Judah Cross. Thank you. Judah Cross. Man. The last and final book in this series is Can't Get Enough, which follows the third group out of the friend group, which is Hendrix. This story talks about how even the independent woman, the woman that has all the goals about career and achieving all the great things, still deserves love too. And still deserves to set aside goals for her personal self and for her love life and stuff like that. And how it's okay with being unconventional. Every woman don't have to want kids, or every woman doesn't have to be the cookie cutter woman that society paints her out to be, or says that a woman should be. She can be her own woman within her own rights and still deserve and still can get the type of love that she wants. And also, this concludes the series, so it brings everything together. And I think that is just the way that it ends. I was boohoo crying. I was just like, this is so beautiful. The friendship, the last bow, the final moments and stuff like that. I feel like this shit was so beautiful, so well written. Like I said, I have to give my 10s to Kennedy Ryan because she did her big one. Like the other ones, this also has a playlist, and it also has a piece in the back. And then also too, the details in the story of having a church background, and she's from a small city outside Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, and it's just like, oh, putting North Carolina on the map, the HBCUs on the map. And I just love like everything about this book. Oh my God, I love it so much. Hopefully I can get it signed. Like I said, my cousin's wife let me borrow these books, but I definitely need all these in my collection just to have. We'd love to get these signed one day. But she did amazing with writing this book and developing the characters within it. It's my least favorite of the series, like in order. So this is my third favorite book, but it was still a really, really good book. Another book that I had read, Defining Decade. Defining Decade, which is about like defining in your 20s, is by Dr. Megan J. or Meg J. Yeah, Dr. Meg J. She's a therapist, so she uses different stories from her various clients. Just talks about the experience of being in your 20s, which is crazy. This book was written in 2012, I believe, and it still talks about the stuff that we deal with today, like such how social media and the perception of other lives on social media affects where people think they should be in their 20s, or how everybody's story is different. People who are further in their careers could experience the same depression as somebody who doesn't even know where to start or still is figuring out what they want to do in life. Or the happiest people can have like the lesser things, and like there's no linear way to do your life or even do your 20s. So I feel like it's really cool, especially I wanted to read something like this because you see a lot of life books about like people that are older or adults or 30 and up, or people that are really young like teenagers and stuff like that, but nobody specifically talks about their 20s. So I really like that audiobook for that reason. Last but not least, I started but I didn't really finish the originals. I feel like this is cool if you're about to like start a business or something, or your entrepreneurship very seriously. It read like a research paper to me, but there's still some really good notes in this book, and it talks about like what needs to be an original and how to have productive procrastination, and how everybody's like process creating something is different. Like I said, it was kind of a bore to me because since I read like a research book, but I definitely still got some like good and tabs from it. So yeah, those were all the books that I consumed in the month of July. If you have any recommendations, feel free to drop them down in the comments. And yeah, thanks so much for watching.